What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and continue our topic kind of from yesterday's ranting video style discussion. Kind of talking about how I feel like, and this isn't just like what I like in this hobby, right? I like vintage, but what I'm seeing is more and more people going into modern. And so that's what I kind of talked about in the last video. I'm still going to be collecting the vintage grail cards that I want to collect. It is what it is. And who knows, we might even see a major bubble pop in modern and maybe a huge reprint takes place. People will say that this isn't going to happen. You don't know whether it can happen or not. It can happen in the next 2 or 3 years. Anything is possible, and it's the ball is in Pokemon's court. But anyways, we have some different style stuff to talk about today. Today, I wanted to lead off with, talking about modern and keeping up with everything with the burnout that kind of occurs. And also, additionally with burnout that occurs in Pokemon and just trying to keep up with the Joneses in terms of collecting all the time. I want to talk about the fact that there is always going to be someone out there that has a nicer collection than you. And this is not like to be a Debbie Downer. This is just the reality, and I face it all the time. I'm scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, or someone sends me a photo of someone's new card they picked up, and it's amazing. And I look at the price, and I'm like, oh my God, people are constantly picking up stuff that just blows anything that I own out of the water. I try to just keep it open-minded and be like, that's amazing, that is so cool. But there is that little part of me that is a little jealous and wishing, I wish I could afford something like that. But there are plenty of people that might feel that way about me and my collection. And you know what? I am extremely grateful to have what I have, and I appreciate all the cards in my collection. But it's just something that I wanted to talk about because I feel like maybe there are other people out there that feel the same way as me and feel like they're constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses and compete with their friends and other people that are collectors that they know, like, oh, you got that new card, like, oh, I just got that one last week. Like, it goes back and forth, and it can be really toxic. And I'm not saying I'm experiencing that now, but it's something that I still experience it now, but it's something I experienced really heavily when I first got back into the hobby. Just trying to keep up with modern, trying to buy vintage stuff, all these deals, so many deals, basically just being inundated by all the deals that are out there, essentially. And, the choice paralysis that comes with that too. And just navigating the Pokemon world, this whole collecting environment. Like, some people might be like, oh, Ryan, why are you being dramatic? It's not that hard to navigate the Pokemon world. There's a lot of stuff out there, but everyone kind of picks it up eventually. No, there is so much stuff out there. It is endless. There are so many niches and error cards and misprints and stuff that was printed way back when that was, test prints, were disco prints. We're seeing all this stuff bubble up to the surface that I don't think anybody was talking about until really in the last, maybe 5 years, maybe even the last decade. But still, there's so much stuff out there, and I am still learning and always humbled, and sometimes, I can't believe some of the cards that are out there, and I'm seeing how collectors evolve, and then they get into the upper echelon of collecting, and they get, there's so much competition and who has, the rarest cards, and, the Snap Pikachu and the Snap Charmander and all of the Snap cards, and just how hard those cards were to pick up and how exclusive those are and how expensive those cards get, and the illustration Pikachu, the Illustrator Pikachu, the $2 million prize card, and then all of these championship league cards, that people win, like the Tropical Mega Battle cards. And I'm gonna talk about that in a second, because something very interesting that I think you guys are gonna really enjoy happened to me last night at the bar, and it has everything to do with the Tropical Mega Battle and learning about it and learning about players getting flown out to Hilton Hawaiian Village and basically competing with the best players in the entire world with all things considering Pokemon, like the best of the best kids there that got flown out on an all-expense trip paid by Wizards of the Coast, by Pokemon. Well, Wizards of the Coast at the time was running things, so Wizards of the Coast was footing the bill. But very, very cool stuff coming up. And, you know, some stuff I definitely envy. But, yeah, moving forward, guys, it's very easy. I've talked about this on the channel before, and usually these videos get really well received because they are from the heart, and they are just something that I can pass down that I've gone through and experienced. And it's something that I'm learning the hard way. I'm taking losses. I'm making mistakes. I sent my Nidoking in recently and it came back a lower grade than the grade that they had given it at PSA initially. You know, I'm learning the hard way about things like grading being subjective in that case, or, you know, that, you know, I'm putting things on my credit card, buying too many expensive cards and collecting theme decks and collecting the modern sets that are coming out and opening products. And it gets really expensive really, really fast. And I'm very lucky that I run a successful bar and a business that can afford me to continue with this hobby and continue even past my mistakes and my failures and setbacks. And I'm able to make enough money to continue collecting and just learn from it. But that's stuff that I can pass down to you guys. And one thing is, don't compete with anybody else. Compete with yourself and where your collection is now and where it's going in the future. And I know I don't necessarily operate that way. I collect at an aggressive, alarming pace, and you know, I'm trying to say, do as I say, not as I do. And I've said that phrase before on this channel, but it's really easy to compare yourself to everybody else and to be scrolling and to be affected by all the content that you're seeing and the influence that you're seeing. And you know, you just got to go one card at a time and really pace yourself. And that's in this hobby, like so many people throw around, collect what you love. And I think that's really, really important because ultimately, like, you're the one who's going to be stuck with your collection. Don't collect stuff that other people are hyping up. Don't feel like you have to compete with anybody. You know, I have some really great friends that are awesome role models in terms of being collectors that collect really what they love, specifically what they love. I have friends that collect stuff that I don't know anybody else is collecting, and I love that about them. But, you know, in my case, you know, I'm constantly trying to upgrade my collection and do better. But I know that Pokemon is not going to be going anywhere. This stuff is going to be around for a long time. If you're in it for the long haul, there shouldn't be any major rush. But for me, I'm very ADD and OCD, and I just want to complete my collection goals. And it's like I have a checklist of cards that I'm trying to check off. And it can be a lot, and it's easy to just move forward and be like, oh, that's not a big deal. I'm not spending too much money. But guys, I know that I have been spending a crazy amount of money in the last couple of months on cards. And for anybody that goes through that, just know that there will be a burnout coming from spending, you know, large amounts of money on cards, building your collection. Grading your collection, totally different thing. If I was grading all the cards I was picking up and getting them for a good deal, raw, and grading them, sure, totally different story. But and my hat is off to all of you out there that are grading a lot of cards, getting a lot of value back, building up your collection and its value, you know, getting PSA 10s back and CGC pristines. You guys are killing it. I don't know if I'm one of those people, and I'm going to try to do another submission here soon. I need to plan that out a little bit better, and maybe I'll send the Nidoking that I got back as a lower grade back again to sub more as a bulk submission. But I don't know how I'm going to handle that. But anyways, guys, burnout is a very real thing in this hobby. It happens to the best of us. And so much of the time you are so focused on building up your collection that you get to a point where it's unsustainable. And then you have to sell and liquidate, you know, your nicer cards, or, you know, all the booster boxes that you picked up that were an investment. You have to liquidate that stuff because you're going at a crazy pace. And I know right now with everything that's happening in this hobby, it feels like, oh, I got to get the stuff now. People are using the thumbnails. You've got to buy now. Buy this now before it leaves you in the dust. Like, you cannot be influenced by the stuff in this hobby right now. Like, you have to make your decisions on what you ultimately really want, and you have to keep in mind the prices could retrace on a lot of modern stuff that's doing really well right now. Take it from someone who is putting a lot of money into modern, okay? I'm about to drop a mail day video probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to drop a mail day video that's going to be pretty big. I'm going to show you guys what I've already shown you in past videos before, the garage with all the cases. I just got 10 more cases that arrived, and so I'm going to do a video showing all of those as proof that I am adding that stuff to my portfolio, my position, but I'm doing it with a lot of skepticism. Even with prices rising, I'm doing it with skepticism because I believe that there's still a potential chance for some kind of reprint or the bubble to burst, and I'm just keeping a really open mind that things can change and flip on us. The whole market can flip in an instant, and I still believe that. I think it's good to be cautious, and I think the smartest people are saying to be cautious and not be full-on bullish, but I still want to catch in on the action. So yeah, I've got that mail day video that I'll be dropping soon with a bunch of other things that I picked up that I'm excited to show, but at the same time, there's that feeling of burnout and stress because it's like, I can't collect every good deal that I see. I have to relax and take a break. Otherwise, I'm going to not only burn myself out, but I'm also going to burn out financially. And, you know, we don't want that. Nobody wants that. And that's not the situation that I'm in right now, but I'm saying that I've been in that situation in the past before, and I've been very vocal on this channel about it. I think it's very obvious that I have somewhat of a problem. I spend a lot of money on Pokemon cards, but this is just what I love. This is my hobby, and it's the thing that I'm the most passionate about. And this YouTube channel has helped a lot. All of you guys supporting the channel and watching my videos and leaving comments and hitting the like button. I never ask people, you guys know this, I never ask people to do my job for me. I never asked you guys to subscribe and do my job for me. If you want to subscribe, if you like what I talk about, if you like listening to the rants or my opinions on things, or even, you know, my just advice coming from a long-time collector. Well, not even a long-time collector. I've only been collecting for like the past 4 years, seriously. So just from someone who's been collecting aggressively the past 4 years, really, I should say. If you enjoy any of the content I make, subscribe because you genuinely enjoy it. And if I'm not doing a good job, say something that you would want me to do a better job of, and I can take that into account. But yeah, I you know, don't beat yourself up for things that you don't have, or missing the boat or missing the train. You know, just things happen. Things are moving very fast paced right now, and it can get stressful, and you don't want to make super impulsive choices as I have. And we're going to find out if some of those choices paid off in the end. We're going to find out if all these modern sealed boxes do really well in the long term, or if, you know, we get a reprint and the bubble just pops, right? What we just saw with Japanese 151 was not pretty, right? We just saw the price of that set get destroyed the past couple of weeks, maybe in the past couple months, just slowly but surely trending down. But we don't want to see that with these English sets, but it is a possibility. It could happen. Guys, I'm super tired. I've been working till 2 in the morning last night, so bear with me as I tell you guys the rest of this story, and how it kind of ties in with, you know, there's always somebody with a better collection out there. Even though you feel like, you know, your collection doesn't measure up, don't be hard on yourself, and don't compare yourself to what other people have. So this is kind of going into that point as well, and just the burnout of everything, because, you know, I'm always comparing myself to, you know, people that I meet or new collectors that are showing me their collections. And guys, I'm just more and more meeting people that have very, very high incomes, are very well off, and I'm seeing a lot of new money come into this hobby, and it's tough to compete with sometimes. But yeah, so let's talk about somebody that I met in the bar last night, because I think this is a cool story, and I would like to get them on for a live stream if possible in the future at some point. It's just, they have a really, really cool story to tell. So I met a gentleman last night. I'm not going to say his name, but but he was one of the mega tropical mega battle Hawaiian championships. This is before Pokemon Worlds, so this is before the World Championships, but there are, basically hundreds of people, I guess, competing in regionals per se, that got picked out and called. They got phoned in 1999 to do this tournament, which I believe for him was in 2000. I met this guy from the bar just pure luck, just by fate. And it was really, really cool getting to talk to this gentleman and getting to hear him talk about his experiences as a kid, as an immigrant coming into the country with nothing and having to build up a deck that was pretty much an unorthodox deck at the time, when people were, running, other style decks and more expensive cards. He was running a deck that was less traditional. And he ended up winning at this championship, and actually has all of this, memorabilia, all of this nostalgic stuff, including, the prize card, which the Mega Tropical Battle prize card, there are a couple variants, but the one that I'm talking about, and I can link it in the video right now if I have time to edit this in. I might edit this in, just a picture of what I'm talking about so you guys can reference it. But cards worth like $50,000, I think, in a PSA 10. I think in like an 8.5 one sold for around like $30,000. But the card is worth a ton of money. Only 72 of them were given out at this contest, essentially. And basically they had kids flying from all over the world to meet in Hawaii. And everything was all inclusive, right? Well, I don't know what all inclusive. Everything was expensed and paid out from Wizards of the Coast, right? So they paid for everything, the flight, the stay in the hotel, everything. They gave them, merchandise and all kinds of things. They got special mats for competing that have the Mega Tropical Battle, the theme on the mats, which is really, really cool. And then they were all handed out, I believe, from what he told me. I think there were different prizes and levels, and maybe trophies, medals for the winners. I do believe that he won a silver medal that he showed me pictures of, but I believe that all of the contestants received a copy of that card, and if they kept it in mint condition, it was worth, tens of thousands of dollars. And I know someone personally that lives down the street from me that actually has this card in their collection, and has, they also, he won a bunch of product. He said that he got to open first edition base set boxes, Jungle first edition, Fossil first edition, Rocket first edition, basically got to open up all of that stuff for free as a kid. So I'm over here boiling because, of course, I'm comparing how much money I've spent to build up my collection the way I've built it up, and had to find these things and pay the prices of them today. And I'm listening to this person who just has all of this stuff from their childhood and has all of it really in mint condition and doesn't really even care about it so much. Like they're not into it today, into collecting, but they kept it just because they had it from their childhood. So, and I talked to him. We may work together on a deal of some sort. I may end up working a deal to buy his collection at some time in the future. He has my number, I have his number, and I said, if you ever want to sell that Tropical Mega Battle card, please let me know. It would be an honor to have that on my eBay store. It would be the coolest thing I've ever had on eBay, and I would love to consign that for you, even if it was for like a teeny tiny nothing burger fee. Like, it would just be really, really cool to have that card in my store. But yeah, it was incredible talking to him and hearing his story. And I would like him, I don't want to say the whole story, because I would like him to talk about what it was like growing up with the cards and not having money to go into the hobby. And it changed my perspective on people and their collections and what they have. And we all have our different paths that we have, collecting on this journey. And this person was someone who had all their stuff from childhood, who won these, tournaments and collected the stuff when really it didn't have much any value. And they held on to it, and now it's worth a lot. And it's very validating for them. And, I'm happy for him. But, initially, there was this thought of like, wow, like this person has this amazing collection. Like, I'm never going to have a collection like people that have been in this hobby for a long time. But regardless, it was a really cool experience. And it just, you know, we were talking, and he was kind of like, dude, like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, I don't have a lot of the stuff that you have because I stopped pretty much at Neo. He was saying that once Neo Genesis dropped, that was kind of it for him with Pokemon, and he had kind of moved on. And then he got into Magic. But, you know, and he was, you know, basically making me feel better, kind of like, I don't have a lot of cards in the sets that came after that. I wish I would have kept up with it. But like, if I ever end up selling this card because I don't feel any like major attachment to it, I will let you know, because I could, you know, I have a growing family and could use the money. Not that I could afford a card like that, but down the road, I think most people, when they think of these like tournament cards and these stadium cards, basically, I think they immediately are just turned off by it. You know, I asked my friends, and one of them was like, no, I didn't win that card, so why would I ever want a card like that? But to me, it's just owning a piece of history. It's kind of like how TCA Gaming is pretty much, you know, he wants a piece of everything, not necessarily because of its value, but because he's always wanted that stuff. For me, it's amazing to see that some of these cards, like the Tropical Mega Battle card, to see it be, you know, $40,000-$50,000 card, that's amazing. But I also understand that was the event, you know, that was like Pokemon Worlds before it became Pokemon Worlds. That was a really, really big deal, and those cards are extremely historical and would be a really, really cool piece of history to own. And yeah, just hearing that story from this gentleman and getting to talk to him last night, I can't help but feel like I'm meant to be collecting in this hobby when I have people just out of just dumb luck walk into my bar and we somehow hit it off talking about collectibles and trading cards. And this is not someone who's collecting right now, right? So I'm not sure how we got on the topic of it. I think we were talking about Nintendo games and being a kid and playing those games, and I think that segued into this. Maybe he can remember it. But guys, I can't help but wonder just like how coincidental that was, that I ran into somebody who flew out to Hawaii in 2000 and was, you know, basically a semifinal winner in a competition with, I guess, if only 72 were handed out. I mean, I'm assuming that there are only 72 people in the competition. It was very loud last night. As you guys can imagine, we were having an EDM event, so it was really, really loud. And I'm sitting here trying to talk to this guy over loud music about this whole experience. And he's showing me photos of his like childhood and with all the other team members. And, you know, with basically the creator of Pokemon kind of sitting in the middle of their group. I mean, it was a lot to take in, and I can't help but feel that it was meant to be, and I was meant to run into this person and just get a perspective into what it was like at that time making these decks. And you know, he was I'm trying to remember everything we talked about in summary, because I'd like to get him onto stream where we can really break things down. But he was, you know, I asked him, how did you go about building your deck? And he was building I believe it was a Machamp, I'm forgetting what deck he ran. It was either that or a Wigglytuff deck. Okay, anyways, I can't remember if it was Wigglytuff or Machamp. Maybe it was, hold on. I think, if I look at my cards real quick, was it based off of any of these? Is it a Clefairy? No, I think it was a Wigglytuff deck. I think he was specialized in a Wigglytuff deck. I'm just wondering if that was right or not. But anyways, it didn't matter, because he was saying that he had prepared this deck that had been working for him, and then they basically gave out sealed decks that people, I think, could customize to some degree, but there was a limitation. Like, I don't think they were even I don't think they were even like 50 or 60 card decks. I think it was less cards than that. So they created, I think, they basically changed things up on the players once they arrived there. And so he felt like he was at a disadvantage because he had to last minute kind of switch up his strategy in the deck that he was running at that time. But yeah, it would be great to have him on stream. And yeah, that was really amazing to talk to him. And I was definitely jealous, him showing me, all of the, pictures of the memorabilia he had from being there and the play mat and all the cards and boxes that he had opened. That was pretty amazing. And I was pretty envious at the time, but it was still cool to be able to talk to somebody and get to hear their perspective on being in such a historic tournament at that time. Like, incredible. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got, guys. I just thought that was a really cool thing that I wanted to share. And don't be hard on yourself no matter where you are in your collection goals. Just take it one step at a time. And, the thing is we're in this for the long haul. I will say there are cards that seem to keep rising in value, and it puts a slight pressure on some of us to try and collect these cards. For me right now, one of the biggest cards that I'm having issues with is Gold Star Rayquaza and Gold Star Umbreon. Those two cards seem to just keep popping in price. It seems like they just don't stop going up in price. And, it's just not sustainable. And I get it. There's only so many of them out there, but it's just not sustainable. It makes it, some people call them the ultimate pump and dump cards. And I kind of understand that now. Like, I kind of get it now because it's like, I was just looking at Umbreon for 6,200 and that deal slipped from under me. I should have just offered 6,300, but now people are wanting like $8,000 at the minimum and they're pricing their Umbreon PSA 9s at 10 grand. Meanwhile, PSA 10 is like 20, 30 grand. So it's getting kind of crazy out here for some of these vintage Grail cards. But yeah, I get really envious of all the people that collected this stuff early on just because they're not having to shell out the kind of money that I'm having to shell out to add these cards into my collection now. And, better late than never, but that is a concern that I'm buying a lot of my stuff at the peak all-time highs. And I'm like, can stuff really continue to rise in price? Like, I can barely afford it buying at the prices that I'm buying at right now. But anyways, guys, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for watching my videos. Feel free to share, like, if you're going through what I'm talking about, burnout, comparing yourself to other people's collections, or even share what are some of the things that you do that help you avoid, the pitfalls of burnout or avoid comparing yourself to others, and overspending. Maybe some people avoid going to retail shops. That's something that I've done recently. I purposefully try not to go to GameStop, Walmart, or Target, because I know that for me, it's like, if I see product on the shelf, especially if it's something that has like Evolving Skies in it, or there's, just some older stuff sitting out, some tins that might have some different packs in them, I would be tempted to buy that stuff. And right now I really want to focus on my other goals, and just buying the singles that I like and collecting, really the niche things that I collect, like theme decks. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go and let me know your thoughts. Peace.